Welcome to LucyTWWE. I'm Lucy T, and I'm so sorry, you guys, that there was not a WWE weekly recap. As you can see, I am in Sandal, St. Lucia, but check out my interview with Natalya Neidhart on AOL Build right now.
Thank you so much for having me, and I brought the Smackdown Live Women's Championship. So
Oh yes, give it up for Natalya.
Thank you.
And I know that last time you were here, all of the fans were wondering, when is Nattie finally going to get the championship? So what has it been like for you the past few months?
Gosh, it has been surreal. I mean, I've never enjoyed getting pulled over by TSA so much to discuss what this is. Traveling a lot, I'm always like, it's just a great conversation piece, but more than that, it is winning the Smackdown Live Women's Championship. It's a dream come true. You're right. The last time I was here, everybody was like, that was the main question I kept getting asked was, do you want to be the women's champion one day? And are you going to go for the title again? And, people would always say, you deserve it. And it really reminded me of why it's important to persevere when you're trying to achieve a dream. And that there were so many times just, in human nature that you want to throw in the towel, or you just don't know how much more you can take, or, because our jobs are really fun, but the travel in itself is very demanding. So for me, in realizing this dream, it's just, like I said, such a good reminder to keep going, and it's worth it.
And what is it exactly that gets you up every morning?
I love what I do. I don't really feel like I go to work, other than those early morning flights. We just came back from Argentina and Chile. We had an amazing Smackdown Live tour of South America, and the shows were sold out, and the crowds were insane. But one of the days, we had a 36-hour travel day, and it was just intense. We were traveling to Raw, and it was really intense. But I love what I do, and I don't feel like I have a real job. I'm like, this is just so much fun. Like, I get to dress up. I get to do what I love to do in the ring, which does require body slamming women.
Yeah.
I love the girls that I work with. And I just enjoy it. It's really great. And people always say to me, like, oh, when are you gonna hang up the boots? And I'm like, I'm gonna be Mae Young.
Yes.
I'm going to do this until I can't do it anymore.
Are you going to give birth to a hand?
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'll leave that for Mae.
And we've mentioned traveling a few times already. And yes, you guys have such a crazy schedule. We were talking backstage a little bit about the science behind packing for these tours and making sure you have everything ready to go in your suitcase. What are some of your travel tips?
Well, especially, man, preparing for the road, it's a science packing a suitcase, and I've become like, I should write a blog on how to pack a suitcase. Because when we do, sometimes we do Raw, like this week we were at Raw. I do Smackdown every week. We film a reality show, which obviously you guys know, November 1st, season 7, Total Divas. We have to prepare for all these different roles that we play in the WWE, because we do so much more than just in the ring. So I've got a bag for what I do in the ring, my wrestling gear bag. And that has my championship in it, that has my wrestling boots in it, that has my costumes, my cat suits, my kitty ears, the essentials for the ring. Yeah. So that bag never, ever, ever gets checked. It's just, if Delta loses my luggage, no problem. I've got this, I'm gonna work out in my wrestling gear. Walk into Gold's wearing my wrestling boots. But my big bag, if I'm gone for 2 weeks at a time, which is sometimes often, I bring a lot of staple pieces that are versatile, that I can wear, where to work out, where to dress up, throw on a blazer with it, throw on a pair of beautiful Stuart Weitzman boots. If you could only bring one pair of shoes, like dress shoes, I'd bring a pair of boots that you could throw them over leggings, and then leggings you can wear to work out in. I love Lululemon leggings. Those black leggings get me through everything.
They're so comfortable.
Yeah, and we just I try to keep it simple as far as packing. So staple pieces, I have a lot of little black dresses, because those you can put on, you can layer them with different accessories, and they're great staple pieces. But at the end of the day, even though I try to really minimalize my bag, I still end up with a 70-pound suitcase every time. And then when it's really overflowing, I start shoving stuff into my husband's suitcase. He's like, I didn't bring a velvet jacket. I'm like, yes, you did.
And what are some other secrets about working with and traveling with your husband and being married to him?
Oh, well, TJ is, he's great because A, he lets me throw all of my clothing into his bag as well. But he understands what it's like to be a superstar in the WWE. And now TJ's stepped into a different role in the WWE. He works behind the scenes. He's a producer in the company. And it's really cool because I never realized how much he loves wearing a suit. Because prior to him being a producer, he was a superstar. And he would, obviously wrestle and compete in the ring. And now he's like released his inner Conor McGregor with this suit game that he's got going on. And I'm like, he loves dressing up. He loves, he's got like he's trying to compete with the Miz for Louis Vuitton belts. But he loves his role, and we have a lot of fun together, and it's nice traveling with him, and we get in the car and we talk on our car rides from, town to town about what the day's events were and who got on our nerves, and usually I bring up Lana. Man, that, as far as Total Divas goes, Lana, definitely, I needed a lot of coffee dealing with her.
Yes,
a lot of coffee and a lot of hot bubble baths after.
Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the Total Divas Season 7 premiere. We have some new blood this year.
Right.
And what has that been like, sort of adding some new superstars? There's Alexa Bliss,
right,
Carmella, and Nia Jax that are all joining the cast.
Right.
How has that sort of impacted the dynamic on the show?
I always enjoy when we get new cast members because being on the show from day one, by the time season 7 airs and all the episodes have aired, I'll have done over 100 episodes of Total Divas.
Wow.
I never thought that I had so much drama in my life, but apparently I do. But I love doing the show. I'm very passionate about the show, but I always welcome new cast members to the show because you've got your originals. You've got myself, Naomi, the Bella twins, and, we're kind of like your old friends on the show that you get connected to and attached to, but it's nice having new blood. It's nice having girls come on the show that mix it up and throw a different, dynamic into the fire. And I've really built a bond with Carmella on Smackdown Live. She's one of my closest friends on Smackdown Live, and we just have so much fun together because we play the role of a bad girl. And so we both agree that being bad is a lot more fun than being good. And so I love having her on Total Divas. I can always vent to her. She's kind of like Rachel in Friends. You can always just vent to her. She gets it. We both are a little neurotic, but we both deal with Lana quite a bit on the show. And Lana's great, but she's just sometimes very high maintenance. I don't know how Rusev does it. I don't know how he does it. I give him all the credit in the world. But it's great having Nia on the show, and I didn't really know Nia that well before filming Total Divas Season 7 because when she got called up and when she debuted in WWE on the main roster, she went to Raw and I went to SmackDown, and then she was just in developmental at NXT before that. So as I started to get to know her more, I started to kind of fall in love with her ability to just speak her mind. And I realized, and I've told this to Nia, I've realized that there will be times when I will hold stuff in so much. And a lot of women do that, where we don't want a confrontation. We don't want the argument. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Nattie can't say no, that sort of thing. And I would hold my feelings in, and I would do something I didn't want to do because I just didn't want to say no or, make somebody upset. Nia is the total opposite. Nia, if she doesn't like something, she says it. She wears her heart on her sleeve. She is who she is. And she's bold, bright, and beautiful, and really proud of that. So that is something that I learned about her on the show, is that I kind of wanted to, at the end of the day, after I was done working with her, I was like, I want to just be more open. No, Lana, I don't want to go out for coffee with you. Mm-hmm. I'm just kidding.
And have you been able to sort of take some notes from Nia Jax's book and be more open and honest?
Just be more honest about, and instead of worrying about confrontation, be more no, this is how I feel. And if you don't like me, that's fine, but this is just take it or leave it. So I think that's the great thing that Nia brings to the table, is that she's just got this very bold personality. And I think the audience will really relate to that. And she is really not your average girl. And
Yeah.
she is proud that she colors outside the lines, that she is not, just like any of the other girls that have ever been in the WWE. She's super proud of that. And I love that about her.
Is there anything in the upcoming season that you can sort of tease a little bit that you were maybe apprehensive to show the curtain behind, or any moment in the upcoming season where you were like, oh gosh, I'm really nervous for this to air. I don't know how this is going to play out.
Right. Well, actually, the very first episode we started filming the show in May, and it just so happened to coincide with this history-making moment in the WWE, our first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And it was the first time in the WWE that women were getting this chance to compete in that kind of a match. And anybody that's ever seen any of my matches or my work in the WWE knows that I don't really go up. I don't go on the second rope. I have a fear of heights. So the show kind of, like I said, it picked up on that because we were putting together ideas and collaborating for this match, and WWE officials, in telling us, hey girls, you guys are going to have this amazing groundbreaking moment. Everybody cool with, what we're doing. And of course, everybody was so excited to be a part of this ladder match, but I didn't want to raise my hand and go, I'm afraid to climb up a ladder. And so I was just like, yeah, that's great. Again, Nattie not wanting to say no, Nattie not wanting to tell the truth. And so I just was like, yeah, it's great. I love ladder matches. I can't wait to be a part of it. And I was inside having so much anxiety because I've just always had this fear of heights. So the first episode really captures that. And then I was like, gosh, I don't know if I want to show that because I don't want people to think that I'm scared. And I want to show that I'm, in WWE, I'm fearless like Nikki, and I can, I always say, be unbreakable. And here I am like showing this vulnerability, and I'm supposed to be tough, and I'm supposed to be going for the women's championship, and I'm supposed to be this, warrior princess, and all of a sudden I'm scared. So there was a little part of me that was scared to show that vulnerability, but then I was like, forget it.
Yeah.
People can relate to that. We all have fears. We all have things, whether it's your fear of public speaking or your fear of heights or your fear of spiders, or we all, have things that make us feel insecure. And so that was a good moment for me to show my vulnerabilities and also show how the women that were a part of that match helped me overcome them. And even though, we're not all best friends, that's what girl power is all about, is women lifting each other up.
And empowered women empower women.
And helping me get through it so that no one ever really, the audience was never able to tell that I was scared to death. And I overcame something that, made me feel strong and powerful by doing that.
And I'm so glad you brought up the Miss Money in the Bank match, the ladder match, which was an amazing match.
Thank you.
For Ellsworth interrupting.
Gosh,
Boo, Ellsworth.
Tell me about it.
When is there going to be a women's division Royal Rumble?
I would love to see something like that. I mean, with WWE, you can expect the unexpected, literally and figuratively. You never know what's going to happen. I remember sitting backstage, and then all of a sudden I heard Shane McMahon's music playing. And this is a while back, but I was like, Shane McMahon's here? I worked in this company, and I didn't, you know what I mean? There's just anything can happen. Kurt Angle, being a part of TLC last week. Again, I'm seeing, why is Kurt Angle trending worldwide on Twitter? Anything and everything can happen in this company and with women in the WWE as far as this women's revolution and women's evolution. It's been incredible. In the last 2 years, we've made huge progress in women main eventing Raw, main eventing Smackdown, doing tables matches, doing Money in the Bank ladder matches, 2 of them in 1 week, by the way. I've got the bruises to prove it. Doing so many groundbreaking things. The first ever women's Hell in a Cell match with Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair. Just these incredible moments. I mean, even at WrestleMania, we had 2 women's matches. Now, on Raw, you have a women's championship. On SmackDown, you have a women's championship. It's so cool to see how far the women have come in just 2 years. But that growth, it's only going to continue.
Yeah.
And WWE, I think, will be continuing to do some really cool matchups. We hope to have, a Royal Rumble one day, and
I think that would be amazing.
I always welcome new girls in our division too. I can't wait to see new girls come up like Ember Moon and I call them the Australians, but the iconic duo from NXT. I'd love to work with both of those girls, and obviously, you know, I'd love to work with Asuka. I know she's over on Raw right now, but when we get new women in the company, I chomp at the bit to work with them. So even the thought of tag team championships would be so cool for the girls. And it's fun for us to talk about too, because even though I am a superstar in the WWE, I'm also a fan of the product. I mean, we watch the network when we go home. I love watching old matches of my dad's from the past. And just the other day, my husband and I were watching the Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, and like going, wow, that was such a classic. Like they were so ahead of their time, and you have to be a fan to do what we do. But that's the fun part, like I said, is that I'm a fan of all of it. So I'm just as excited as the audience and going, ooh, I really want us to get tag team championships. You know what? Even though I'm in this rivalry with Charlotte Flair, we would make a good tag team.
You would make an amazing tag team.
Yes, and I would be, you know, obviously the best in the team.
Obviously.
But
and you have a match coming up at Survivor Series on November 19th against the Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss.
Right.
Is there anything specific that you are doing to prepare for that match?
I am really pumped about that match because I've never had a one-on-one matchup with Alexa Bliss, and I'm really proud of her in a lot of ways for evolving her character. And you know, we worked together on SmackDown Live when the draft happened. She and Carmella got, you know, drafted to SmackDown, and I really enjoyed teaming up with her. And then, you know, she got traded to Raw in the Superstar Shakeup. So it was kind of like the last that we had worked together. And I am looking forward to giving Alexa Bliss a run for her money and, you know, releasing my inner Dynamite Kid on her and reminding her of who is in charge and who is the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
Yes. Yes. And before we turn it over to audience Q&A, I do want to talk a little bit about the way that superstars give back to the community. You know, right now there is the partnership with Susan G. Komen for The Cure going on with Dana Warrior, Unleash Your Warrior.
Right.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I love all these questions. They're so good. I'm going to take you home with me.
Okay.
You can meet two paws.
Yes, paws out, claws out.
That's right. So in October, WWE, every October actually, at least for the last few years that I've been there, I think it's been over 5 years that we partnered with Susan G. Komen. And every October we go pink, and it's really a way of using our platform in the WWE to raise awareness about what women and men are going through as far as breast cancer and breast cancer awareness and research and trying to raise money using WWE as a, you know, like I said, as a platform for it. So we're in over 180 countries. For us to be able to spread a message of unleashing your inner warrior, which is spearheaded by Dana Warrior, who her husband was the late Ultimate Warrior. It's such a great campaign because so many of our WWE fans connect with the Ultimate Warrior. But this is also a way to integrate a different demographic, women that are, you know, going through the disease. And I mean, if you ask someone, do you know somebody that's gone through breast cancer, a survivor, or somebody that's been affected, or somebody that's passed away from it, every single person I know, including myself, can raise their hand and say, I've been connected or affected by it.
Yeah.
So by doing this campaign with the WWE and Susan G. Komen, the partnership that they have, it really is very empowering. It's about empowering women. And so many people are wearing the shirts. You can buy the shirts on WWE Shop or go to WWE.com and you can purchase the shirts there. And it really helps to, you know, go towards women that are affected and are suffering and their families, and also men that are affected by breast cancer. And just meeting some of the women we met when the very first week of October that we started the campaign, some of these women have been through hell and back. And, you know, hearing their stories of survival and what they've gone through, and, you know, you think, gosh, I had a hard day. Like, these women, it just, again, is a reminder of, it puts everything in perspective. It's a reminder of, like, how lucky we are, how we have such a huge reach to help people in the WWE, and that it's just such an honor to be able to touch these women's lives and just be able to give back and hear their story. And sometimes that's all people want, is just to be able to share their story, just for you to listen to them and, you know, hear them out, and for them to kind of share their experience. So it's very, very empowering, and it really makes me proud to work for the WWE and work along with Susan G. Komen.
Yeah, and it makes it very easy to love the WWE and be such a big fan.
Yeah, especially when you see how you're making a difference.
Yeah, and I could talk to you for hours, Nattie, but we are going to turn it over to audience Q&A. So we have a first question right here.
Hi, Nattie. Thank you for coming, and thank you for all of your hard work in the WWE. So the women's revolution started initially in 2015 and has been constantly moving. My question to you is, how do you just not settle, and how do you as a superstar and the WWE creative team not become complacent and just keep pushing forward?
That's a great question. I think, you know, you look at WWE and it's like a year-long thing. We're every single week we have to, you know, we have Raw, we have Smackdown, we have NXT, we have all of these different outlets in the WWE, and we always are aiming to make things fresh and exciting, and you know, creating new matchups and creating interesting stories that will pique the audience's, you know, interest to keep watching week after week. But at the same time, building new talent and still honoring people like myself that have been in the company for almost a decade. So it's a challenge to find the balance, but it's also really fun. And it's a fun challenge because I think WWE, I think they're definitely motivated by the audience, but it's, for them, it's not just about, you know, creating unique moments for us, it's about continuing to move forward. So you look at the women's Money in the Bank match. Not only did we have one, but the following week, based off of the controversy with James Ellsworth winning it, you know, helping ruin our match, yeah, we were all furious at James, trust me. You know, then the following week we had another one, and it was just interesting to see, like, people were clamoring to find out what was gonna happen in the second Money in the Bank ladder match. And we, you know, even last night there was a fatal five-way match to determine who was gonna be the team captain for SmackDown Live. And it was so cool to be a part of the invasion on Monday night at Raw. I've never faced Sasha Banks on the main roster in a singles match. So, you know, there's all these different dynamics and possibilities of what could happen. And it's just exciting to work with new girls. It's exciting to work with girls in the past, like Mickie James. It was 8 years ago that I worked with Mickie. So sometimes what's old is new, and I like being able to take all of my experience from over 15 years of wrestling, training in the dungeon, traveling around the world, being in the WWE for as long as I have, and I've had the most matches of any woman in WWE history. So, and I didn't even know that until somebody pointed that out to me on Twitter. But to be able to take my experience and help pay it forward, that kind of stuff moves me, drives me, inspires me, and I just can't wait to watch the division grow and grow.
Hello, Nattie. It's a pleasure to have you with us. I was wondering, what do you feel is your defining moment in your career out of all the moments you've had?
I mean, there's just been so many moments. Sometimes I feel like I never want to say what that moment is because I feel like I'm waiting for that moment. Like, I'm one of those people that, like, I never want to get comfortable. I always go to work like it's my first day on the job. I always feel like, as happy as I am and as much cool stuff as I've done, I always want more. You know, whether it's Total Divas, whether it's, you know, I was in the first women's tables match. You know, I've done so many unique things. I'm one of two women that have competed for all 4 championships, along with Charlotte. And, you know, it's just so, for me, it's just hard to pinpoint. But I will say, one of the most awesome moments of my career was at SummerSlam this year when I did win the SmackDown Live Women's Championship, because it just felt like everything came together for me. All of the, you know, bumps in the road from tearing my ACL when I was just getting started in Japan. I remember, like, when I tore my ACL in 2005, I called my uncle, Brett, as you guys know of him, Brett the Hitman Hart. Called him up and I was like, I don't want to wrestle anymore. This is too hard for me, and this is a sign that, like, I tore my ligament in my leg, and it's going to be like 6 to 9 months that I have to take off, and this is just maybe another sign that I should go in another direction. And I remember Brett being like, no, 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 you're just getting started. This is important for you. You need this setback. You need this to remind you of why you want this. And winning this has just reminded me of why I love this and why I'm so happy I didn't give up. Like I said, perseverance. That's just such a reminder of perseverance, and I couldn't be more proud to be the women's champion right now.
Yes.
Hey, Nattie. Congratulations on winning the championship. Well deserved.
Thank you.
So my question is, can you briefly talk about the creative process in WWE and how much of it is Vince and the writers saying they want to see certain feuds or storylines versus you kind of getting to do a little bit of the organic, I want to try to pair with this person? And when is the inflection point where you kind of get to choose your path a little bit more?
Gosh, that's a great question. I've never even been asked that question before. It's a collaborative effort. It really is. It is, and that's the cool thing about working in WWE is that nothing is set in stone. And when you work in a company that is so, we really do color outside the lines in so many different ways. We have people from every walk of life, every, like I said, you walk into work and there's Brock Lesnar, there's The Big Show, there's Mark Henry, there's just this unique group of people. You've got James Ellsworth and Carmella and Nia Jax, and everybody's just so different, unique. We really embrace diversity, and we, like I said, we color outside the lines, but it's a collaborative effort as far as the creative goes, because you just can't, there's just no way to explain how that creative process works. It's just situational. And when you do a TV show for as long as WWE has, anything can happen. Changes are made like that. I'll be in the middle of the ring and there will be changes that have to happen on the fly, and you have to adapt and you have to adjust. And I've learned that it's not always about survival of the fittest. It's about who can adapt, and being able to adapt is what's helped me survive in the WWE. But as far as ideas go, whenever I have an idea, as crazy as this sounds, I feel I can run them by Vince. I feel that I can run them by the creative team. I feel very open to sharing my ideas, and I have had a lot of ideas of my own see the light of day because I have shared them with the powers that be, and it's really cool to know that, as a woman in the WWE, I have a voice. So if I say, hey, I want to do this, or hey, this is a great idea, or hey, I have this idea, what do you think? And then pitching it out to Mr. McMahon or the creative team, or like I said, the powers that be, and knowing that wow, they liked it, and now we're doing it on Smackdown. That does happen. So it just depends on what day it is, and obviously we can't do anything too crazy. I can't just powerbomb James Ellsworth whenever I feel like it. I have to wait for the proper moment to put him and Carmella in the sharpshooter at the same time. But trust me, it's coming.
Can't wait to see that. We have time for one more question.
Hi, Natalya. I happen to be a huge fan of yours for the longest time ever. And here's a question, though, about cats. So what is your favorite kind of cat? If so, what would you... If so, would you bring it on the W event in a foreseeable future?
Well, my cat, Two Paws, let me tell you guys about him. You can follow him on Instagram at Two Paws, Pawz, 2 in front of that, the number. We're trying to get him to 152,000 followers. He's stuck right now at 151,000.
Oh, no.
He is a Persian. He's a rare lilac Persian. And I just love him so much. I've got 4 other cats. They're not as rich as him. But Two Paws is such a special cat. I love the Persian breed, but we have 2 rescue cats as well. So Persians are a little fancy. But like I said, I don't discriminate. I love cats. I love animals. I'm not as much of a dog person as others, because there is a big difference in WWE. There's dog people and there's cat people. And you don't tell dog people that cats are better than, dogs, because it turns into a big meltdown. But I don't know if I'd ever bring Two Paws on the road. He actually has an agent that he works with. It was a total Divas situation, and the Bellas hooked me up with a great agent. It's actually ironically called the Dog Agency. They represent Two Paws, and they wanted me to bring Two Paws out of the house for signings. And I've had to kind of break it to them that like he doesn't leave the house, and he definitely doesn't get out of bed for less than, you know, a certain amount of money a day, and he's just very finicky, and he just so he's very spoiled. I don't like to. He just likes to stay in the house, and if there are very important projects that happen, they can come to him. And they can come see my home and the other cats as well. But yeah, it's I love cats. I've got the new, you know, shirt with WWE shop, paws out, claws out. It's my cat with laser beams coming out of his eyes. And that's one of the most frequently asked questions I get is like, why do you love cats so much? Or like, what's your favorite cat? Or like, people just love talking to me about cats. So I'm like, it's great because, like, you know, I'm a crazy cat lady, self-proclaimed.
I would like to come back in another life as Two Paws. He seems like he's got it.
He's
made
so
in the shape.
spoiled. It's like my husband and I don't have kids, so you know we treat these cats like they're our kids, and like they're just so spoiled. They've got like all these different treats they get, and we give them tuna juice like twice a day, and it's like nuts. The cats are just like so spoiled. They're just like the most. They don't even play with toys. Our cats. They just look at toys like they're too good for that. But they, you know, they do have a lot of catnip, so.
That's all you need in life, right? Well, thank you so much for coming by, Nattie, and congratulations again on your
Thank you guys so much
championship.
for having me.
And make sure to tune in to the Total Divas Season 7 premiere on
November 1st.
November 1st. Thank you so much, Nattie.
Thank you guys. You guys were great.
Thank you.
Thank you.